Oh, Rach is on as well. Awesome. Thanks, guys, for tuning in for tonight. Hopefully the last webinar that we need to go through all the stuff for the Spring into Scavengers next month. I hope you can just hear me okay. I'm just currently in the library in Sydney, so apologies for the background noise. Tonight, I just wanted to chat through the last things, the last aspects in the final month before your event that I thought you might need some help with. And obviously, feel free to jump in at any point and ask any questions. And we'll also just break out into questions afterwards to cover anything that you need to go over. So I've had a look at the events that are all up on the Facebook page, and I've seen Jess, you've started posting on there, so that's awesome. Well done. These are really good avenues, the Facebook page, to obviously start drumming up some interest. So I would recommend starting to post onto those events, just to know, for the people that are on there, to know that there is action happening and that it's still relevant and coming up in the next month. One really good way to get more traction and more participation on the page is to share the actual event across other community groups within your area. So that could be like community gardens or primary school, cleanup groups, all those sorts of things all those sorts of groups that are active in your community. If you've got a time to contact your local radio and let them know that the event is also happening, that's a really good way. Community radios are always looking to do interviews about what's happening in the community, and I'm sure they'd love to chat, and it's a really good way to reach people in the few days before the event. For volunteers, I'd also start putting the word out now, as you'll want to have like 10, if you can, to help you sort all the rubbish and register people in and manage the market. One way to manage people, if they're writing to you, is to create a WhatsApp group. That's often what I do. That's a good way to just like quickly share information, especially if on the day you need to shift the time because of the weather, or otherwise like a thread on Facebook. But some people don't have Facebook, but it's really whatever you find works for you and for your crew. In the startup, the toolkit, you'll find a template for all the roles. I'd recommend that you send that around to volunteers that are interested, so that they can start to get a feel for what they'll need to do on the day, and they might even elect certain roles that they want to do and that their personality or skills might lend more to favourably. Do remind them to wear, sunscreen, and, if it's windy, jackets, just whatever is necessary for the weather, and remind them to bring some food and a water bottle as well. And then hopefully you've managed to set up some sort of clothes drive, because I know a lot of you are actually still organising the clothes aspect of the market, which is awesome. The way that I do it is I usually have a drop-off location for that pretty heavily. You can probably start promoting it now, just letting people know that they can put a bag together for you. I would recommend specifying that you really want good quality stuff, because otherwise you can end up with a lot of things that you then have to manage yourself, whether that's, having to turn it into rags yourself or actually put it into landfill just because of the sheer quantity. So do specify when you're putting the word out to friends or family or just through the Facebook page that it's really good quality stuff that you need. Obviously, you can accept like toys and books and jewelry and shoes and all that sort of stuff. But yeah, in not mint condition, but good condition, anything that they would be comfortable handing on to a friend or family. And just a reminder that we can't do any electrical goods at the Scavenge just because our insurance policy doesn't cover it. So if people want to donate lamps or I don't know, toys and things that plug into walls. You just have to let them know that unfortunately we can't accept that. And then otherwise, in terms of preparing the clothes, the way that I do it is I usually dedicate the Friday before the event to actually hanging everything and just sorting through all the clothes, because as I said, you can end up with a lot of stuff that isn't so usable. So yeah, if you sort it, and obviously you need a bunch of hangers, so make sure that you have hangers, enough hangers. If you do need hangers, you can hit up Target or Kmart. They often get rid of a lot of plastic hangers, or also dry cleaners have them as well. And yeah, I just hang everything and then tie it all together with, some thread that I pull off or cut up some of the bad clothes that we get donated. And then that way it's all in a bag. So on the Saturday morning, you can just grab it out and then hang it on the racks. Getting onto that, so racks and hangers. I hope you guys have creatively figured out some way to get that stuff so you're not having to buy it. If you haven't yet, I would just recommend you can use simple things like crates stacked on top of each other, and like a pole that you put on the crates, maybe 3 crates high, that you can then hang the clothes on. Or if you're around Sydney or major cities, often you'll just find people have thrown out the metal hangers or racks, on the side of the road, and you might be able to pick a few of those up. If you can't get any racks from the side of the road or crates, another option is to go into Vinnie's or your local salvos and just ask them if they've got anything that you could use, and you can put it up on the Facebook as well. So a lot of community people will come out and say, yeah, I've got stuff in my shed that you can borrow. In terms of equipment that you'll want to ensure you have on the day, so gloves, you can ask people to bring their own gloves, but you will want to have some there on the day for people that forget. If you don't have any gloves, one way to get some donated in kind is to talk to your Bunnings. So I know I mentioned this probably a couple of months ago. If you've striked up a conversation with them, just hit them up for some gloves and a tarp, because you'll want something to pour all the rubbish on to sort. Bags, you can really use any sort of bags. Everyone has fabric bags these days, or you can get bags from your brewery, local brewery, anywhere, just something that people can use to pick up rubbish and then empty. You'll probably want to have a couple tables for people to register at, and some clipboards, because it makes it much easier. And if you have a chance, I would suggest putting up some signage, just because on the day people might be looking around. One cool way to do it is to chalk the pavement. So you can just say, Seaside Scavenge this way, draw some arrows. Just make sure the chalk is not permanent chalk. I don't think there's such a thing, but it should just wash away with water. And otherwise, a really good way to make signs is just to get cardboard and paint it with blackboard paint, and then, which you can find at Bunnings. I think it's about $16 for a tub of it, and then you can just use chalk on that to create signs, which is a really easy way. Sorry, not the data sheets. So for the participants, when they sign in, they'll need to read over the waiver, which is in the toolkit. And this is just basically, you can summarize it and say that it is for that they need to take responsibility for their safety, and there'll be photos being taken during the event, and that it's kind of a photo indemnity. So if anyone doesn't want their photo taken, just to let whoever know that might be taking photos, and then also print the data sheets. So they're online as well. Have a look through the data sheets with your volunteers. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out and I can explain it to you. So that's pretty much all for the actual, what you need to do from for the next few weeks. I've sent parcels to a number of you with some Seaside Scavenge t-shirts and some scales, which you can use to weigh all the rubbish. As an outcome for all the events, we'll be looking to, from each of you, it'd be really awesome if you could supply us with the weight of the total litter collected and the total number of participants. Ideally, if you can get all those forms that the participants sign that you can send to us, that would be awesome. And then like a little summary, 300 words, and some photos of the day would be really great, just so that we can share the awesome work that you guys did. And then I'll probably speak with you guys after as well, just to get some feedback about the overall process, and then, maybe some ideas that you've got moving forward, how you want to keep the momentum going, or if you want to do it again next year, that sort of thing. So please keep in mind as you're doing the event, if there's anything that comes up that you weren't prepared for, or you could have had some more help around, just jot it down, because as I said, this is the first time we've run it in this way, so I'm just trying to figure out what you guys need to make it as easy for you as possible. Yeah, so that's kind of all, I think, from me. Did Jess or Rachel, did you guys have any questions that you wanted to flesh out?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay, cool. So how are you going? Have you got some clothes and stuff donated or in the line? Yep. Yep. Yeah, well, it really depends on like how many people you have coming through the event. For us, where we have about 120 people coming through, we usually have 4 racks and like a table that has like books and stuff, and then we have a tarp on the ground that has like cheaper things. But I don't think if you've just got something, that will be fine. I often think the more packed the clothes racks are, the less inclined people are to look through them. So there's actually a benefit in having less stuff, or more racks that are more spread out, just because people don't have to take the time so much to look through it all. But it's really just what you have within, what equipment you have within your capacity. So I wouldn't fret too much about, if you've got 2 racks, that's awesome. Maybe grab a tarp or like a blanket or something that you could also have to lay down things on if you get extra stuff. Because also I should mention that they might have friends that have something that you can borrow. Yeah, and if you've already got 2, I wouldn't stress yourself with trying to get too many more. If you've got people, then go for it. But 2 is like a really good benchmark. And if they could play for, an hour and a half or something, just depending on what you've got lined up for the run sheet, then it sounds like you're all on track there. If you need any help trying to find, I know, if you reach out to Kennards, they can supply you with a generator, and if you let them know it's for like a community event, are about $120, but they usually I can send you the actual specs on the one that we use. It's like very quiet and really light compared to most generators. Yep. Cool. I will send that through to the group now. Yeah. And then volunteers, do you have some people to help you yet? Okay, awesome. Yep. Well, that's a great start. Great. Awesome. And then, yeah, I saw that you're already posting. It was really great that you put up a post of yourself and like a personal post as well. So people like know who you are and that you're coordinating it. It gives them like a bit of a background on how this stuff comes together. So that's really great that you're already onto that. And yeah, if you're trying to drum up more interest, I would just recommend sharing the event across a few different pages. And yeah, as I said, if you can get in touch with with the radio and like just give them a ring. They'll usually say that there's like a morning show and they'll interview you for like 5 minutes or something, which is really good. They usually do it like a few days before the event. And yeah, it's just like quite timely and brings in quite a few more participants. Awesome. I'm just posting the generator link now, so you can check that out. Cool. And then, sorry, I just sent it again because it wasn't the full URL. Yeah, and then, oh yeah. So, are you able to send me a photo for any? Well, we're going to be putting up some stories on our Instagram about all of you coordinators. So I'm just wanting to get some photos of you that I can share across our platforms to kind of make an example of you leaders in your communities. So when you get a chance, please send those through as well. Okay, awesome. Great. Rach, did you have any questions that you wanted to go over? Yes. Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's flexible. It's flexible on what you want to do. The 10 pieces of litter for 1 token is not a strict framework. It's workable within your community. So I would recommend going down and having a look and spending maybe like 10 minutes and seeing, how much rubbish you could pick up within that time. Because I think, as I mentioned, you'll be surprised actually that even though it looks really clean, once you start having a look, it's just a lot of the little pieces that, you can just skim over, but like little micro pieces of plastic or cigarette butts and things that do actually end up being quite a lot. Yeah, well, it's a good example for people to think that, oh, wow, it actually is. Yeah. 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 Yeah, it doesn't have to be like super regularly, but I think it's just good for people that have clicked attending that they do see something going up, you know, once a week or something like that, especially if you've got musicians, or keep the participants or the people interested on the event like engaged. And doing a little, story or something about yourself is really great as well, because people know about you. Yeah, all good when you can. Cool. And then, so just if you do need anything over the next few weeks, just reach out to me over email, or give me a ring if it's something urgent. But yeah, otherwise, I'll just keep an eye on the events and get in touch, just to check up beforehand, and the number of participants and stuff, and some photos. But otherwise, please just keep like a little journal or like a little note on anything that you need that, you know, did work or didn't work, so that we can go through that at the end as well. Cool. All right. Well, thanks very much. And thanks for putting up with all the noises in the background. I will chat to you over email and look forward to seeing all the things that you post up. And we'll keep an eye out for that on Seaside Scavenge. I'll try and find your personal pages and share that and link you in or tag you on those posts. If you don't want me to do that, just let me know. Cool. Thanks, guys. Bye.